Hi, I'm Ellen Wright from the Wright Family Law Group in Tewksbury. If you are the payor parent in a Massachusetts child support case, you need to listen to the rest of this video if you want to avoid getting raked over the coals in your child support situation. A child support order can be a huge source of stress and anxiety, and a lot of people will avoid going back to court at all costs because of it. Massachusetts law recognizes that children have an absolute right to be supported by their parents. Because children are vulnerable and parents don't always do what's in their best interests, the child support laws in the United States, and in Massachusetts in particular, are very serious and can carry equally serious consequences. A Massachusetts child support order is no joke. Massachusetts child support enforcement actions for failure to pay include garnishing your wages and other types of income, seizure of assets, levying of bank accounts, placing liens on real and personal property, interception of your Massachusetts state or federal income tax refunds, suspension of your Massachusetts driver's license, suspension of a professional or occupational license, orders to pay attorney's fees to the recipient parent for non-payment, and in some cases, even jail time. If you want to minimize problems with your child support case and minimize the amount of child support you have to pay, avoid these top 6 child support pitfalls. Number 1, no side deals. Your child support order is not a recommendation or a suggestion. Once the child support guidelines are run and a judge enters an order in your case, you have no choice but to comply with it. If you and your ex strike a verbal deal after court that's something other than what the judge entered, you both need to take the steps to ask the court to change it. If you don't, and your ex reneges on the verbal agreement, you may find yourself owing a bunch of money that you didn't bargain for. Getting a judge to change the child support figure isn't difficult, and you can do it together by filing what's called a joint petition for modification. The forms can be found on the Massachusetts Trial Court website, and you and your ex can fill them out together and send them to the court for processing. If you're having a hard time figuring it out, many attorneys can assist for a reasonable flat fee. Number 2, adjust your parenting plan. While it's important for children to have adequate financial support, many would argue it's just as essential for children to have quality time with each parent. Evidence shows that shared parenting time helps offset the negative effects of divorce and can soften the hardship that a reallocation of income can cause from a child support order. If the percentage of parenting time has increased substantially in your favor since the time of the last child support order, you may be overpaying in child support. Consider asking the court to enter the new parenting plan as a court order, and also asking for an adjustment to the child support that's in line with your new parenting plan. Number 3, think twice about owning your own business. If you are facing the prospect of having to pay child support, it's probably not the best time to start your own business. If you already own your own business, make sure that you're keeping separate accounts for business and personal expenses. Many things that are deductible for tax purposes are not for child support purposes, and figuring out what the income actually is for a self-employed person can sometimes be difficult. Depending upon what line of work you're in, a judge could attribute income to you if he or she suspects that you might be underemploying yourself, or you could be earning more working for someone else. Number 4, if you pay your support in cash, get receipts. You should avoid paying your child support in cash, but if you must, make sure you're getting signed and dated receipts. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're accused of non-payment and you don't have the proof to show that you actually did. Try Venmo or Cash App as an alternative to cash, check, or money orders. Number 5, if you are injured and can't work, make sure that it's documented. If you are disabled from working due to injury or illness, make sure that you've requested copies of all your medical records. It's also a good idea to request a letter from your doctor that describes your injury, the date you received it, whether or not you're partially or totally disabled, and whether or not your disability is going to be temporary or permanent. Number 6, don't procrastinate. What many people don't realize is that their child support obligation is not going to automatically change just because their life situation changes. Your income has gone down due to a layoff or a termination, you need to ask the court for a modification right away. Arrearages are going to quickly accrue, and you don't want to find yourself owing a bunch of money because you procrastinated. If you voluntarily quit your job, you may find it difficult to get a judge to approve your modification. If the cost of your health, dental, or vision insurance has increased substantially, it may affect the guidelines enough to warrant a return to court to request a modification. You should talk to a qualified family law attorney to help you rerun the guidelines in order to make that decision. Court's primary concern is always going to be the best interest of the child, but judges are mindful that payor parents need the ability to survive as well. Important to remember that the Massachusetts Child Support Guidelines are just that. Guidelines. Judges do have the authority to deviate from the guideline amount if there's a good reason to do it, but you need to consult with an experienced family law attorney to figure out whether or not it's worth going back to court. If your child support case is in a state of flux or you think that you might be overpaying, give us a call at 978-851-2291 or reach out to us on our website at wrightfamilylawgroup.com to schedule a free consultation today. Also feel free to download our complimentary e-guide, 6 tips to avoid getting raked over the coals in child support today.